Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now today we're taking a look at a lens that has been sent to me by the manufacturer for review. They won't see this video any sooner than you guys and girls do, and they've had no input in the making of this video. I just thought I'd get that out of the way first of all. And the lens we're looking at is the Viltrox AF 28mm lens that we have here. And it is really tiny. It's a pancake lens effectively, and I've got it on my original A7C, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Look how compact that is. Now that's great for street photography, great if you want to go out and do anything discreet. Also, because it's so compact, you can keep it on the camera all the time rather than using a body cap, and you've always got a camera and lens available for a shoot. So I think it's beautiful. I really do think it's stinky. And the image quality is actually really nice from this particular lens. I'll go through some of the images on my computer here. I would strongly recommend you take a look at them on Flickr. I will leave a link to my Flickr page where you can take a look at them. I will be uploading more images I've taken with this lens. There isn't a great deal simply because the weather's been atrocious to go out and take any photographs with. So they're in and around my back garden, but I will be taking more, over the next few weeks. Now, the lens is really thin, hence the reason why I called it a pancake lens. And the beauty with this lens, unlike any other pancake lens that I've tried, it's autofocus. That is incredible. A tiny lens like this to be fully autofocus. It's only made for the Sony E mount system at the moment, and it is a full frame lens. So it does cover the full width of the sensor if you're using it on something like the A7C, which I'm using it on here, or the A7R range, or any of the full frame camera bodies. But it's equally at home on something like the ZV-E10, the A6000, the APS-C cameras. This is the ZV-E10 Mark II. Again, some of these sample images were taken with this camera, and it's about a 42mm lens on an APS-C body. Obviously, you have to take into account the 1.5 times crop factor. So even if you don't own a full frame body such as the A7 range, as I say, this is the A7C, buy it for your APS-C bodies, and you'll get a 42mm lens as a pancake lens, as a body lens, body cap lens. Works beautiful, works really well. The autofocus is pretty snappy. It isn't the fastest autofocus lens, so I wouldn't necessarily use it for sports photography or anything like that. I think it's ideal for doing street photography, family photography, all the general sort of stuff. And it's a great little video lens as well. The autofocus is fast enough for video. I found it works pretty good. So yeah, I think the lens is really nifty. Now, it has got an aluminium mount. It's got a metal mount on the lens, so it's going to be great for wear and tear. I'm surprised they've actually put a metal mount on this particular lens. I thought it might have been a plastic mount, but no, they've gone with the higher quality aluminium mount on there. I think that is awesome. And it is a fixed aperture lens. Now, I can see why it's a fixed aperture. It's such a tiny lens. I'm sure they weren't able to get the aperture blades in this size lens as well as the autofocus mechanism. So they've gone with one or the other. And I'm so pleased they've gone with autofocus, because with my eyesight, manual focus isn't great. I love autofocus. It's great on here. There are no buttons or switches on this lens. You wouldn't expect that on such a tiny little lens. What it does have though, it has a lens cap basically. So on the front there is a slide that little switch over, and you've got a lens cap. So there's no losing lens caps. I don't know how many lens caps I've lost over the years, loads of them. You won't lose a lens cap with this lens. So, you just cover it over, put it in your camera bag, and away you go. When you want to take some photographs, just slide that over and you're ready to take photographs, or video as the case may be. Now, as I said earlier, it is a fixed aperture lens. It's f4.5, and again, that's much better than the vast majority of pancake lenses that I've come across. Most of them are around about the f8 or f11, so you've got to use them in really bright sunlight or crank the ISO up really high. Again, with this lens, you've got to compromise. You haven't got to crank the ISO up too high, and also it's a wide enough aperture for getting a little bit of bokeh. If you've got the subject quite close to the lens, then you can get some, quite nice bokeh with this lens. If a subject you're photographing is quite nice, it will throw the background out of focus because of the f4.5 aperture. So all in all, a very, very well designed lens, very, very nicely made lens. It's only 60 grams, so you don't even know you got it. You can shove that in your pocket. And being that it's 28mm, that is great for street photography, because that covers the range that most, a lot of street photographers tend to use 28 to 30, maybe 35. So it's a lovely focal range for that kind of photography and for family photography. That's why I like to leave it on my A7C, because it's there if I want to use it. The camera's always ready for taking photographs, and I think it's great. The image quality is fine. In fact, the image quality is pretty decent, which I'm becoming to expect from Viltrox. They don't make a bad lens. The other camera, I've put the 20mm lens on my ZV-E10 Mark II. Now that effectively becomes a 30mm lens, because again, this is a full frame lens, but this isn't expensive either. I have reviewed this lens, and I use it a lot because of its focal range. As I say, that's 30mm on this camera, very, very lightweight, very, very nice. It is bigger because it's got a lovely manual focus ring, and it's just such a nice lens. As I say, autofocus, and obviously variable aperture, so you can adjust the aperture on this lens. The other thing to say with this lens, as well as having a fixed aperture of f4.5, there is no manual focus ring, so it is purely autofocus. You can't switch it to manual focus because there is no focus ring on the lens. But again, when I'm going out and about taking photographs, I just want it to be autofocus. I find that as a benefit and not a disadvantage. I think that is great that it is only autofocus. I can just point the camera, I can use subject tracking, that works fine on here, or I can just use single point autofocus, and that works equally as well. So yeah, great little compact lens. It's great that it's got a built-in lens cap. Now this lens is on pre-order at the moment, as of September 2024. I'll leave a link to their Indegogo page where you can actually pre-order this lens. And they have got some pretty decent discounts available at the moment if you do want to pre-order this lens. It is only Sony E mount at the moment. I'm sure in the future, if this is successful, and I see no reason why it won't be, because it's a great little lens. If this is successful, I'm sure they'll be making it for other mounts. And so I think it's wonderful that they've made it for the full frame bodies, because you could buy two of them. They're so cheap to buy. You could buy two if you own two bodies, one for your APS-C camera and one for your full frame camera. And then you've got 28mm and you've got 42mm. Now, looking at image quality, the lens is sharp, lovely and sharp, lovely colours, lovely detail. It's a decent lens. You can see there's a little bit of bokeh in the background there. It is a decent lens. Now, I would say if you're using it on a camera body that hasn't got in-body image stabilization, such as the ZV-E10, because obviously this lens has no image stabilization. It wouldn't have, would it? It's tiny. But if you're using it on something like the ZV-E10, use it in shutter priority, so you can set a faster shutter speed, so you don't get camera shake, camera movement in the image, any blur. It's fine on the A7C because that has got in-body image stabilization. I think it looks great on the A7C. I really do. I think it's a great compliment to the A7C, and works really well. So these images here were taken on the A7C. You can see here it's got up here ILCE7C. And you see the colours are just lovely. Sharpness is great. Really, really nice lens. So I will leave these images on my Flickr page so you can actually take a look at them there. It's a really cost-effective lens. It's going to be around about £100, maybe £120, something like that here in the UK. So next to nothing really. As far as lenses go, I think it's a fantastic value lens. I think it's a fantastic quality lens. The fact that it's got an aluminium mount as opposed to a plastic mount, I think it is great. I'm quite surprised that Viltrox have done that at at this price point. So full marks of Viltrox for thinking of quality as well as convenience and flexibility. But yeah, there we go. That's a brief look at the Viltrox AF 28mm FE lens, full frame lens. As I say, buy it for your APS-C body. You won't regret it. It won't be 28mm, it'll be 42mm. Yeah, great little lens. I mean, it's beautiful. I'd like to thank Viltrox for sending it to me for review. I really do appreciate that. And I do hope it is a tremendous success. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to take a look at these images on Flickr, and also don't forget to take a look at their Indiegogo page. I think it's well worth looking at, you know, buying this particular lens if you own a Sony camera. So there we go. Thanks very much. Cheers for now. Bye.